welcome to stage Amanda.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody.
Wonderful. So, you're the Director, Global Strategic Events Lead at EY. That certainly must have been a very interesting role for the first kind of 2.5 years that we've been on this mad journey.
It seems hard to believe that it's been 2.5 years since we did live events, but yes, it has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, no, and I think as we all keep saying, the journey continues. I keep saying this is the new kind of crazy that we're living in.
Yes,
absolutely.
indeed.
So we survived it. We all told the story and everything else. What was actually, which of the events were you most proud of? Because it's quite interesting tonight at the awards. A lot of our regulars haven't entered because they were going, well, I've got lovely live events to talk about for next year. But obviously you've done some amazing things.
We did. We pivoted all of our events to be virtual. But I think the one that I feel the proudest of was the one that was probably the most challenging as well, was our World Entrepreneur of the Year event. Now, just to give some background, this event is held annually. We're in our 21st year now. And it's a culmination of individual competitions around the world in each country, identifying amazing entrepreneurs. And we come together in Monaco and we appoint a World Entrepreneur of the Year. So usually there are about 56 countries taking part. They go through a judging process and then we announce a winner. And normally it's been a 3-4 day event, amazing event in Monaco, and it takes place in June. So when the pandemic hit, we were struck by what are we going to do? So we all put our heads together, and it was about the end of March. It became evident that we wouldn't be able to get all of these global people into Monaco, although we never would have predicted it would be 2 years later until we did. But so we decided that we needed to do a live broadcast. So we spoke to some of the television channels and we did a deal with CNBC. And I have to say to you, when we did that deal, I had no idea of what the next 6 to 8 weeks would be like. It was a baptism of fire, and we had challenges that I never thought would exist. In fact, our key phrase was, you couldn't make this stuff up. Because, first of all, learning virtual, learning how to deliver television production and how to engage the winners, because we had 56 winners, to make them feel special and to make them feel that they weren't exactly missing out on the live experience was quite a challenge. So I have got some slides to show you. So this was the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year 2020 event. And as I said, we quickly pivoted it to be a virtual experience on CNBC. Now, these were all of the winners. So what we did is, and we had to find out in each country what was going to be possible, because of course some countries were in big lockdowns, some were open, and but we knew when we were putting together the television show that we wanted the live experience for them. When we're on site in this live event, one of the most spine-tingling moments is when we announce the winner. And there's so much anticipation. And it's also about learning the stories of what these entrepreneurs have done. Honestly, it takes my breath away every year what some of these people have achieved. And so this is a screenshot from the show where you can see they were all participating. But before this shot, we had to work out how we were going to do the judging process. And normally the judging process is over 2 days. They have in-person meetings with our independent judges. So again, we quickly had to pivot this to be a virtual judging process, and we had to work out exactly how we would do this. We did it with a WardForce platform, which is a special sort of virtual judging platform, and we also used Zoom. And I have to tell you that this was so successful that actually this year we came back to a live event. We still did the judging process virtual. So this was a really big learning, but really, really successful there. We did media interviews, we did judges interviews, and then we did a judges deliberation as well.
Are you going to keep it like that?
I think we'll keep it
onwards?
virtual
Yes.
for the judging experience, because it really was beneficial.
Yeah.
And then this is a shot from the prior one. This is one of our world winners. So this just kind of shows we like to give the winners an amazing experience. So when they come to Monaco, they really feel special and they feel as though they are a winner. And so really trying to work out how we can replicate that in the COVID time. We did some viewing parties, we did some virtual parties for each of the areas, for APAC, for the Americas, and some people were able to have a viewing party in one of our offices, or so that they were able to watch when it was live on CNBC. And so I think it was on the 4th of June that it aired, and it was a 1-hour broadcast. And I have to say that I don't think I've ever felt stress like it. The CNBC studio in London was in lockdown, so only the key presenters and the key crew could be there. So literally I was sitting in my kitchen, and one of my colleagues who was co-leading on it, actually she came over and we did it together. And I can't even describe the experience of watching something going out live as we were doing it live. Now, in the planning for this, this is how the studio was looking. So this was our facilitator, compere, Emma Crosby, and we had some interviews. Obviously we had, and I think the next slide shows you, our global chairman. He is in his house in New Jersey, so even just in the planning for this, we had to arrange for film crews to go to his house. The US was in lockdown. Could we get film crew? There was allowed to be one film crew, no sound person, and all of these kind of complexities that made it for a very interesting learning experience. And we also wanted to make sure that we included all of the winners. So you can see one of the screenshots on the bottom on the left. We did some panel discussions, all on Zoom, and really just tried to make it as engaging as possible. Now, as I said, one of the most spine-tingling moments is the live announcement. So we definitely wanted to make sure that gave the element of surprise. And I'm fortunate because I get to know who the winner is a short while in advance. Now, this presented a new challenge because the winner was actually based in India for this year, and it was 3:00 in the morning. So I had to use all my persuasion and all my convincing to make sure that the winner was going to be on without giving it away. We even thought about, and we planned, do we have a film crew standing outside her house and then running in when we made the announcement? But then because of COVID, we weren't allowed to do that. And we had all sorts of challenges. But thankfully, it was, a really great moment. And again, these are just some shots, and you see that our chairman is opening the gold envelope and announcing the winner there, and there's Dr. Kiran Mazumdar being told that she'd won. So I think I have to say that this was an amazing experience, but it was stressful.
I think it's so interesting, just hearing that story and the transition, and I expect everyone in the room also has been living through transitions. I love the CNBC thing as well. I just thought it was I actually watched it, I absolutely loved it. But it kind of went, wow, yeah. Definitely. So look, okay, so, we're all now going back live. How did you actually make that decision? How did you actually go about going, right, we're going to go live, it's going to be good? How did you go about making that?
Well, I think it was towards the end of last year. We wanted to start planning for this year, and we decided that we had to take the plunge. We had to make the decision that we were going to be back live. Yeah. And actually, on the two events that I'm going to talk about again shortly, we did not even say we will do them virtually. They were either going to be live or we weren't going to do them at all. Because we felt, and I'm sure everyone else will feel this experience, towards the end of the sort of 2 years, the attendance figures were beginning to drop drop on the virtual. You weren't getting that engagement, and people were over it. People were tired. I mean, I speak for myself. I signed up to attend many different events, and then when it came to it, I was like, no, I can't. I just can't face looking at my screen again. So, we took all of that into consideration. We started the planning. And we were pretty certain that we were going to do live.
Yeah.
One of the big events that we do is Innovation Realized, and we made the decision that we were going to do it in Chicago, and literally we couldn't even go and see the venue, and we had to have some people go and FaceTime us so we could look at it and look at the floor plans and all of those decisions that we did, and so that was what we did. We were pretty steadfast that, okay, they were going to be in person.
It's that whole thing of going, right, it's going to be in person, and actually taking that bold step sometimes to do it, and it gets you so proud. So obviously we had a proud virtual conversation, a proud live one since the event. Now, I love these events. I just think they're absolutely brilliant that you're going to present. I just kind of went, oh, wow.
Thank you, Anita. Well, actually, first of all, I'm going to talk about the live event of World Entrepreneur of the Year, which we delivered literally a month ago. We went back to in person in Monaco, and we actually invited the previous 2 years' classes that had the virtual experience as well. And we invited everyone to Monaco, and we had a 3-day event. And I have to tell you, the atmosphere, the excitement of just bringing people together was unbelievable. And people were just so happy and just sort of feeding off each other, almost like today. You're just so happy to see people, to meet in person. But before both of the events that we've been doing live, I've said to the team, just take a moment, think about where we've come from. Okay, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, we're all really tired, but we're here, we're together, we're not sitting in our homes. So, so we delivered a really interesting World Entrepreneur of the Year experience this year. We had Bono come and speak to us, and we had the amazing photographer, and I have to say, if you ever get a chance to hear Platon speak, I really encourage you to do that, because he was absolutely took my breath away. And we had 3 years classes, and we had 81 winners from 50 countries. Now, one of the things that I was worried about, I was worried about there would be suddenly a COVID outbreak, that France would go into lockdown, but thankfully everything worked out really well. And, we were able to deliver a really, really great event. And we created EY House, we called it, a really beautiful environment to just allow people to come and sit and network and talk to each other. And we had a great party. I don't know how many of you know Monaco, but we had a great party at the Yacht Club. And then we made the world announcement of who the winner was for this year. And we had a great party afterwards. So it was really, really a very joyful occasion, and just so happy to be back in person.
I was going to say, that whole thing about now content, remember it used to be so crucial, but at the moment it's meeting each other again, isn't it?
We based this whole experience for all of our winners. We created individuality for them. We wanted each of them to feel special. We asked them before they arrived, do they like sparkling or still? Do they like sweet or salty? To really make them feel, once they were on site, to really feel, that special touch.
It's almost like the attention to detail of them coming back and experience is key now, isn't it? Obviously, it's always very important.
So it was really, really, it was really a great event. Yeah. And then here are some more images of some of the branding that we were able to do. And again, some of the personalized touches. In Monaco, we were able to take over all the flagpoles, so each of the winners were able to have their photos up, which of course they all loved. We had a winner's wall, and we had everyone's portrait up and learning about what experiences they had had.
Fantastic, just looked amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
The art there as well, just you just go, just brilliant, wonderful.
Yes, thank you. And then Innovation Realized. So Innovation Realized is a very different event. You would never think that EY would deliver an event like this. This was in its 5th year. We've been delivering it for 5 years. And it's really an event to take people out of their mindset and to think differently about the business challenges that they have. Now, we deliver it in a very different venue. So we actually delivered it this year in a massive music venue in Chicago, which when I saw it, I finally was able to get to Chicago in December, and I saw the venue that we'd chosen. I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to work. But actually it worked out really, really well. Again, we had the same challenges. Do we need to do COVID testing? Do we need to ask for passes? But it all sort of played out very, very well. And I actually have a short film just to show, and this is the venue, and the yellow arch is what we had created, but the background there is what the music venue normally has. So this just gives you a short tour of the venue, just to get some ideas. And virtually everything you see here is something that we created. So we take the venue 2 weeks in advance, and we start the build 2 weeks in advance, so that we can really tailor it for our guests. So that kind of just shows you the different type of venue that it is, and it's a setting that we feel that we could never recreate in a hotel or even in a purposeful conference space, because it is really unique. Now I have to say we had 2 events back to back. So we had one and both of them were for about 350 people. And I had forgotten, the sheer amount of walking you have to do at live events. Your feet are hurting, and the sort of 6 a.m. starts and the midnight finishes.
Yeah. I always think
some things we didn't miss, but it was just so good to be back. And one of the things that we're trying to do around all of our events now is our sustainability pledge. So this is what we planned, and this is what we have on display, just to be able to use local produce as much as we can, to use non-plastics, reduction of paper, animal products, and local sourcing. We also, some of the staff, the team on site, had uniforms, and we were able to donate those uniforms to a special charity that then give them to people who are going for job interviews and things like that. So we were just trying to look at all aspects that we can really show our support for sustainability.
And I think it's really interesting with little things that you can do, like offering. So we have today, Event Cycle we're using to actually recycle the campfires. So, they're going off to a charity, I think, in South Norwood. So the apple crates will be there, but that's so important. And I really do hope that everyone did use their SAM app to measure their carbon footprint to get here, because I'll be releasing next week our carbon footprint for the event. Don't be scared.
So we had this on display, and I think it is really important to try and have things like this on display just to make people think. And here we just like to show how we're engaging the senses. We have an in-house baker, an amazing chef, also to show creativity and innovation around the food, which plays such a big part in this as well. And then we engaged all of the senses. We had some live performances. This was an amazing live performance. We had some musical acts. This was a digital musical act with some live presenters, some live musicians as well. And we had a performance of poetry, which was incredibly moving to kick off the event. And we had this amazing guy, Harry Yeff, who uses his mouth to play music, and how he gets different sounds out is honestly absolutely unbelievable. So we try to engage all of the senses, and just the screenshots from there, you can see what the screen was looking like in the plenary room.
And that was 100% live. So
it was 100% live. We did absolutely no virtual. Yeah. These are some things we do, surprise and delight moments, just to give people a bit of a surprise. They went back to their locker and they'd have a little gift, a little, not expensive, a candy bar or something which we knew they liked. And that's what we did there. So that was sort of how we engaged everyone's senses. And then here is some pictures of where we have the content sessions. So we created really different environments so that people could sit there and again think differently, and really this was actually one of the most popular ones, which looks stupid, it looks crazy, but actually this was really popular because you know, I use my hands a lot, but you can't use your hands, you just see everyone's heads.
Wow.
And you know, so it was really interesting for people to have really serious business discussions, but in this environment.
Oh wow, that is just
so yeah. It's really and then just with we played a lot with different lighting, and again, different lighting and different methods. This was called Crack the Code, and the VR codes were you could you know, they were highlighting people. So people, again, this was a really popular one, and this was a speakeasy bar. We wanted to pay tribute to the fact that we were in Chicago, and so during the content session, we served some alcoholic drinks if people wanted them, and just shared the experience of a speakeasy bar. This was a planet one to make people feel. This was one of my favorites, although, so this was trying to be like a train or a tube, and we had moving images in the windows, but actually we had to stop because people started feeling a bit sick. Which is, I had wanted it to move originally, but luckily we didn't do that. But yeah, we had to stop some of the imaging showing. So, so these are the kind of different environments we created, and you know, really happy to say it really was very successful, and just reminded for all of us the power of being back in person.
Absolutely. And you know, do you bring those ideas then into your other events that you do for different things?
Yeah, we try to.
I love that head thing.
Yeah.
I think that might be coming up next year.
One of the best ones and the you know, most economical one is seating in the dark. We did one in pitch dark, and you know, that's not a cost, that's not a big cost, and we've replicated that quite a lot. And it's amazing the difference people talk about, the different things people talk about when you're sitting in the dark. You can't see people's faces, you can't see each other. So yeah, we do try to. Obviously, you know, it depends on budgets, it depends on circumstances.
Yes.
But yeah, we definitely do try to. Yeah. So that's
I just what an amazing event that was. So, you know, obviously we've got this hideous thing now of COVID on the rise, which we're all talking about. And I know yesterday in ICE Germany, it was a really big issue because the Germans take this very seriously. In Bavaria, it was really interesting about crushing people together and stuff. So, you know, is hybrid still on the agenda? You know, like, I hate asking that question because you'll go. I remember standing on stage 2 years ago going, I'm going to do every event hybrid now. And not a cat in hell's chance will I be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I have to say that when people ask me for a hybrid event, I push back.
Yes.
And I think the challenges that we've faced, and maybe others will be able to say differently, is it's usually double the budget.
Yeah.
People don't get the value out of it, of attending an in-person event or attending a virtual event. You're trying to please both audiences and you can't. Yeah. And it's like organizing two events.
Yes.
So I think certainly for the time being, I'm trying to encourage we stay clear of hybrid events. Now, definitely some events should be virtual.
Yes.
And will remain with all virtual. But I think the hybrid events really creates a lot of challenges.
Yeah. Because one of the things I think a lot of people have said to me over the last few months is this demand from stakeholders on events. You know, like everyone's going, I want an event. How do you actually manage that?
Well, I do have a job vacancy for a 12-month role, so if anyone's interested, please see me afterwards. And we're just trying to manage it, sort of trying to look at the calendar, trying to say, you know, things are back. We don't have to rush everything to begin with. And also, you know, I'm sure everyone's found that availability is, you know, it's really hard.
Yes. Yeah.
And trying to lock down venues and resources and equipment and everything is a challenge. Yeah. So, you know, I'm being totally honest with our stakeholders and saying, you know, we'll do our best, but it's not possible. And also saying no.
Yes, yeah. That no word is so important because I think a lot of people also saying that they're saying no, but then stakeholders are doing it themselves. So there's a real feeling of, will it be a proper event? How do you control that? That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an interesting. Often I'll be like, no, absolutely not, and then they'll come back to me and say, oh well, and then I'm like, oh okay, well,
because it's you.
Yeah. So, but I think we have to say no because
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm sure everyone feels the same as well. But the last few months have been crazy, and you know, I'm just incredibly proud of the team and how we've pulled everything together.
Yeah.
But. And the autumn is looking as though it's going to be, you know, just as busy and so we just have to manage it as we go.
It's quite interesting future gazing for the next 12 months is going, okay, how will it look? Because everyone's bumping into each other with events at the moment. So it's all got a bit like this, but hopefully things might settle down a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully once, I mean, Davos being in the middle of the year created a lot of issues for us.
Yes.
And so hopefully once we get the pattern back, things will settle down a bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, you know, I was going to mention later on, we've got Explory, basically we've got some benchmarking research going on where we've got a lot of thing about budgets going on. Obviously everything's confidential, and Cvent will obviously sponsor the thing, and we're going to be launching it at Cvent Connect in October. So I think it'll be really interesting to see those trends and everything else. Now look, I've just been told that I'm going over time. So we have one final thing. Just share one vision, you know, of the future event, where you see it going. Because I've got to ask everyone this today.
But my vision is to be as creative as we can. I felt that the 2 years being virtual was just, I lost my creativity and I felt it really hard to get inspiration. But we're back and there's so much creativity out there that really to take that and to make it into events and to, you know, try and deliver challenging and different events is what I'm hoping for.
Thank you. Well, Amanda, thank you so much. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.